like to call this meeting of the Northwest Local School District Board of Education to order. Amy, if you would call the roll, please.
Mr. Unger?
Here.
Mr. Harlow? Mr. Detzel?
Here.
Mrs. Detzel?
Here.
Mr. Heather?
Here.
If you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our next item is approval of minutes.
Yeah, we have one set of minutes from the March 9th meeting. The treasurer and superintendent recommend the Board of Education approve the minutes as listed.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Amy, please call a vote. Motion carries 4-0. Our next item is legislative update. I will ask Mr. Heather to give the update.
Okay, Mr. Harlow usually handles this, and he's not here tonight, of course, as you can all see. I was just given this, so I'm going to just be very brief. The governor signed the Student Safe Harbor Bill, preventing individual student scores from being used to determine promotion or retention or to grant course credit. Michael usually can expand and explain things better, but I'm just reading the headlines here. The Senate passes the asthma inhaler bill, so you can kind of figure what that means. They're going to allow inhalers to have their be away from licensing requirements and have them on hand at the schools throughout the state of Ohio, and also an attempt to block the State Board of Education's regulation eliminating the 5 of 8 rule failed at the Joint Committee on Agency Rule Review. I read what the 5 of 8 rule is, and in my brief reading of it, wasn't sure what exactly that means. I don't know, Andrew, if...
There's 8 classifications of specific employees that a school district has to have, and you have to have 5 out of those 8.
Okay.
What it's referring to.
Okay.
Rule.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Heather, and that is available electronically from the treasurer. Our next item is the Student Achievement Liaison Report.
I'd like to have Mike come up. Very excited tonight. We have high school students that are going to talk about dual enrollment and post-secondary education options.
One of the things that I spoke to the board about at our last meeting was College Credit Plus. And one of the things that we thought would be nice...
Use the mic so it picks up on the camera, please.
One of the things that I thought would be nice is to hear students that this year are participating in college and high school courses for credit. And you're going to get 3 different perspectives from students that are taking those on our campuses. Some of those students are taking those off our campuses. And one student's a Butler Tech student that is also taking it through Miami of Hamilton. So with that, I'm going to ask the 3 students to come up. And I'll ask you, when you speak into the mic, and introduce yourself and what school you're from, and they're going to talk a little bit about their experiences.
My name is Katie Estenson. I'm a senior this year, and I go to 3 schools technically this year, which sounds a bit crazy, but it's been a really neat experience. I'm technically a part of Colerain High School, but I decided my junior year to go to Butler Tech School of the Arts, where I study visual arts. And then this year I decided that I wanted to take my academics at Miami Hamilton to get college credit. And the neat thing about that is my school is located in downtown Hamilton, which is 5 minutes from Miami Hamilton. So I spend Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at Butler Tech, and then I go at lunchtime I drive to Miami and I take English 111 and History 111. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm at Butler Tech all day just doing artwork. So it's been a really neat experience, and it's given me a head start to my college career. I'm actually taking 6 months off next fall, so that'll give me a semester off. But the nice thing is that I will have these credits, so really I'll just be right on track. and I think it's good for students to do this because going to college is kind of a scary thing. You don't know what to expect, so it's nice to get a little head start and get a better understanding of what college classes are like and meeting new friends. And also you can still stay involved with your high school. I'm a part of the swim team still, so that's been really cool. So that's all.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Do you know where you're going to go to college after you graduate from high school?
Yeah, I'm taking 6 months off to do a mission program
Okay.
called YWAM. That's actually in Australia. So
Awesome.
I'll be taking time off to travel, and then I have applied to CCU, Cincinnati Christian University. So that's where my mom works, so I'll get free tuition and everything. So.
Yay, Mom.
Yeah.
And the credits,
That's awesome. Thank you.
and the credits are from Miami are transferable to Cincinnati Christian University?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marissa Fierce. I'm a junior at Northwest High School, and I'm currently enrolled for dual enrollment through UC in my French 4 class and my AP Government class. I personally don't see much of a difference between the dual enrollment credits and my regular courses at Northwest because it's the same class. There's no difference from UC between my class at Northwest, so it's the same class, and it's very easy to get through. There's no hard courses or extra measures to take, and I think it's a great program for students to get in, especially with next year being an affordable cost for most students. It's a great thing to take up next year. So
And how many credits now will you receive this year?
about 2
2?
this year.
That's great. Thank you. Good luck.
Hello, my name is Thomas Chim, and I am from Northwest High School. And I'm currently enrolled in French 4 for dual enrollment program. And I would have to say that the program itself, I think it's a good program because it's affordable, $550 for 3 credit hours. That's really, that would be really nice for my family. And and also, my experience in the program itself has been an enjoyable one, especially with Miss Buckley as a teacher. I would say she's the most qualified and the most oh, I'm sorry, I just can't find the words to speak.
Best suited for the program. She's best suited for the program.
And she's also best suited for the program. I had her for 3 years, and this is my 3rd year having her, and she's been a really good teacher, always wanting to help, and always trying to boost me through this program. So
Now, where are you planning on going to college?
I plan to go to Mount St. Joe.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
We wanted to give you a viewpoint from 3 students that have done this year, and affordability was something that's been a concern. A lot of those barriers have been removed with the way the program's designed futuristically, and one of the things we want to do is attract more students, because I think there is a fear, as Katie mentioned, about can I do this at the college level, and eliminating some of those fears prior to a student ever taking a course at college, and sometimes the added benefit of just the confidence that students receive beyond the credit hours and semester hours and all of that is a critical piece to this. And so you've heard 3 students there that have participated this year, and we have a lot more out there that have. We just chose 3 that have done this, and we look to grow the program. UC's been wonderful to work with and expand those course offerings on campus, yet understanding that students still will have the opportunity to select schools beyond UC if that best meets their needs.
I think what's important too is, yes, these kids are looking into their future, but they can still be high school kids too. I love the fact that you can still be a part of the swim team and be a part of Butler Tech and get college credits, so that they still get, they're not missing out on some of those other important parts of high school as well.
Sure,
So-
because they're not having to spend their entire time on a college campus
Right.
doing this. They can do it ingrained in the culture of what I call, quote, the high school experience, which is really important.
I think it's great, and I love the fact that you came and shared with us. I think the more that you talk about that and share with your peers, we'll keep building the program so that other kids see that they can be involved in extracurriculars and do this as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I would like to have the 3 students and their photos in the hall for a photo.
And you're welcome to come back in after the photo.
You don't have to.
Oh, no, we want you here. I'll pause just for a second and let the room clear. And our next item is the Butler Tech update. Mr. Detzel?
Yeah, Dan, just a short couple of things here. The groundbreaking for the bioscience building, we're trying to get that figured out. It's probably going to be in August, and we're going to try and do it like on a Saturday so people don't have to take off work and that. So I will be back in the next month or so to let you know exactly what that date's going to be. And then, Dan, we were talking at the last board meeting about televising the Butler Tech meeting, so I brought that up. So that was met with a little opposition from some of the board members, and I said, look, I says, we'll be willing to spend the $50 or whatever it would cost to televise it, so, our community can watch it, on our Warner.
That's critical.
Yeah, I do too. So we are going to discuss it at our next meeting, so I'll have an answer back here hopefully
Right.
the next month or so.
And the board does have a small service fund that we can use. I think
Right.
it's a $4,000 fund, and most years we don't spend half of it. And
Well, right, and that's
I think
like-
televising the Butler Tech meetings would really allow a lot of these folks in the room here who are part of our
Absolutely,
district
to see what we
goes
talk
on
about and what's
there.
going on
And,
at Butler Tech. I mean, I think it's really important.
I'm a little bit disappointed to hear that the
Yeah, I
other
am too.
board members
Yeah.
don't have that level of interest, but I
You
don't
know,
know what
there
it's
was
taken
there
the
was a
board.
few that wanted to be on board with it, but there's 10 board members, so you got 10 different ideas.
I think having the camera in our room for the last 9 years has really improved things, and hopefully they
Right.
come around to
I'll
a better
report
way
back.
of thinking. So,
Okay, thank you.
When is the next meeting, Jim?
It's the third Tuesday of every month.
That would be in April?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, well, thank you for a good update. And the next item is a principal's report. Dr. Jackson, tell us about it.
Yes, I'm happy to introduce Mr. Richmond, Taylor Elementary principal and proud Xavier graduate. I told him if he said Xavier, I was going to publicly humiliate him for saying it because they made it to the Sweet 16 and I don't want to hear about it. And we have Mr. Phelps, also his instructional coach, Mr. Phelps.
They do have Arizona,
Richmond.
and I realize that will be a tough game, but Sweet 16, we'll take it. We'll take it. But I do have Mr. Phelps with me. He's my instructional coach, and we're here to. I need to stay here, don't I? Talk to you about. Yeah. Talked about the third grade guarantee. The district goals. By the end of the school year 2015-16, students in Northwest Local School District will meet or exceed state goals in all measured categories: achievement, gap closing, graduation rate, progress, K-3 literacy, and college and career readiness. What we're going to focus on here at Taylor Elementary, we're a K-3 building, so we're going to talk about the K-3 literacy piece, which is huge, the foundation of the district, and especially on our north side where most of our kids go. So if they can't read by the end of third grade, research shows they will struggle long term. Northwest Local School District will provide an environment in which all students are educated in learning environments that are safe, drug-free, and conducive to learning. The district will provide resources and strategies that are designed to reduce suspensions and expulsion rates and engage the entire school community in the educational process. The building goal that goes along with this is implement and monitor a system of academic and behavior supports for all students. Specifically, what a lot of our focus at the K-3 level is the third grade guarantee law, which was Senate Bill 316. And here it is. Except for those with special circumstances, students must meet a minimum score on the state reading test to move on to the fourth grade. In 2013-14, the minimum score for the advancement was 392. In 2014-15, they raised the score up to 394. This score must be attained either in the fall or spring administration of the state reading test. And everything we do is geared towards those tests. analyzing the data, basically the assessments here. With state diagnostic assessments, in September, we give them a reading assessment, third graders, actually the whole building, but specifically for our third graders, that kind of gives us an early indication of which students need extra help. And from there, provide interventions, get things rolling for them. I want to jump down here to the MAP data. This is also in September, and if you're unfamiliar with the MAP assessment, it's an online assessment that I'm a fan of because it really hones in on the instructional level. It's not just an achievement test, tells you if they got it right or wrong. The MAP assessment really will, if they get a question right, it gets a little harder. If they miss it, it gets a little easier. So it really finds where the instructional level is so the teacher can really take them from that level and build upon that knowledge. Oops. Then in October, we get our first our first crack at the OAA. And from there, we really get an idea of where do we stand. And some kids obviously pass and some that don't, and we, again, reassess where we're at, look at the interventions we have in place, and then we come down here and we've got these things called RIMPs, Reading Improvement and Monitoring Plans. Any student who is not on track at the state diagnostic or the OAA is on a reading improvement plan. And it monitors interventions, bring the parents in, we talk about it, they sign it, they know exactly what we're doing and what intervention their children are receiving. From there, we can tweak it throughout the year. It might be a 30-minute pull-out with Title I. It may be a 10-minute, they just need extra practice on letter sounds or fluency or whatever the case may be, specific for those kids. All right, so kind of like I said, we make a plan. We determine which students need the Title I support. Also, our regular classroom teachers restructure their reading groups. So there's a whole group instruction, there's small group, and at this point, anytime they're getting data, they're always reevaluating what the groups are. They're based on reading level, and from there, like I said, they keep adjusting everything that they do. And something that's very important that we do is we progress monitor any student in third grade who has not benchmarked an oral reading fluency. And every 2 weeks, so they're getting interventions, but every 2 weeks we're monitoring to see, are they making progress? If not, it's alarming. Okay, what else do we need to do to kind of get them on track? All right, so the fall OAA, last year we had 40 whizzes in the fall. We had 41.2 pass, which is a score of 400. 52% scored above the 392. So again, it gets confusing because 400 is actually the passing, but to move on to fourth grade, you need last year a 392. For this year, the number was raised to 394. So we had 38.4 pass at this point, and 46% of the grade level met the 394.
What's the remedy when they don't meet it?
When they don't need it?
When they don't get past that in the spring test?
That's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, I want to turn over to Mr. Phelps and talk about the special program we have for those students, because we'll talk about the results, which they're not going to be
So do they get the
awesome.
test a third time then, or you're going to answer that?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
get that. Sorry. No. So basically, I kind of talked about that. We analyze the OAA data, we write new RIMs for any students that may need them, and then modify the class groups. Now to talk about what we do for the students that still have not met the score, we'll turn it over to Mr. Phelps, and he'll talk to you about a special program that we've set up at Taylor and other buildings.
So one of the things that we found to be very successful is to have an after-school tutoring program for our students that have not met that 394. Last year we had 61 students in the program and we had 8 teachers, so we were able to have somewhat small group sizes. This year we have 76 students in the program and we have 10 groups, 11 teachers, one of them switch off Tuesday, Thursday, so we were able to get 11 of our teachers to stay at least one day a week to help us out. The first step that we do is that we meet with the parents in January and we kind of discuss with them what the law is, how it pertains to their student, and these are just the students who do not have that 394 yet. So we're able to kind of talk to them. We provide some place for the students to go and do another activity so that can just be an adult conversation. So we're not trying to put the pressure on the kids or have them feel like it's all doom and gloom, where we can just have that conversation with their parents, but then they still have somewhere to bring the kids if they need to. So like I said, last year, 73% of the students that were enrolled in our tutoring were actually passed the that spring OAA, and 100% were able to move on via another assessment that we would give. So that MAP test is actually another assessment that we can give to say that they're on track for 4th grade. So this year with our 76 students in our 10 groups, we're hoping to at least have, similar results, if not better. One of the things that we did last year and we're continuing to do this year is at McDonald's on Corrin Avenue. Cynthia Booth is the owner. She's decided to provide us apples and milk for the students to have a snack, which sounds like a small thing, but for our students, they look forward to tutoring because it's more time with an adult that really cares about them. They get that snack. It's a more relaxed environment. They really do enjoy coming. And I can't tell you how many times a kid will come up and say, is it Tuesday? Is it Thursday? Those are the days that we have our tutoring. Because they really they love it. And they know that chocolate milk is Thursday, white milk is Tuesday. Yeah, so we do use a combination online program and a test prep book that the teachers who do the tutoring actually picked out. And the theory behind that is that if we have our groups that may have 7 kids in them, we can do half the time of it's roughly an hour and a quarter. Half the time will be with the teacher in a smaller group even, and then they'll flip-flop the kids on the computer. So you may have just 3 or 4 kids in that group, and then they flip-flop to go on the computer and do that program. So we can take what's essentially a small group and make it even smaller so that we can personalize it to what the kids need. It began in the end of January. I believe our first session this year was January 27th, and it will finish April 16th. So we have a good long time to do those interventions, get those kids in after school. And we just continue progress monitoring. And this year we started even earlier, and we're going to go right up to that last day before we're able to have the test the next week. And the last session is always kind of a pep talk. It's where Mr. Richmond comes in and tells the kids, you've worked really hard. You guys should be confident with this. And it's really to boost their self-esteem so that when they see that, they're not worried. They're not panicking. They're not thinking, how am I going to do on this? They're going in knowing that I've worked really hard. I've put in the extra time and I can do this. So that's just as much as teaching the skills. It's teaching them to be confident in what they know. Like I said, about 73% of the students that were in tutoring last year, 37, passed with a 400 or above. 115 out of our 138 third graders, which is 83%, attained a score of proficient or above. The state cutoff for earning that point was 80%, so we were above on that. And 138 out of the 138 were able to move on to 4th grade, either because they had another circumstance that exempted them from the law or because they passed the test with a score or showed us by another means that they were able to move on. We received both our points in reading and math on the state report cards, so we felt like it was a successful program and we're able to try to continue with that again this year.
So the 37 of 51, the 14 that did not pass, did they become one of the 138 that was allowed in by, you figured out there was a reason and that's what led to the exemption?
There are a couple of things in the law that lead to other exemptions. One of them may be that a student with an IEP has an exemption, or they actually allowed us to use that MAP test, which there are studies that correlate that to the OAA. So if they were able to achieve a certain score on that, they were able to move on.
So you're able to follow those students into the 4th and 5th grade and make sure they're keeping up?
We wouldn't be able to, but we could certainly. What we do is we pass information along to Pleasant Run Elementary,
I just want to make sure nobody's getting pushed along that isn't where they need to be.
What I do is when the kids leave us for 3rd grade, I meet with Mr. Dunn, principal of Pleasant Run Elementary, and Mr. Clymer, the principal of Corrin Elementary, and we'll talk about all the kids, kind of where they're at, what services they need. Like Mr. Phelps said, if they're on an individualized education plan, that follows them and they've got those services there.
I certainly don't want the 14 to be left behind somewhere.
Right.
So.
And we always pass on. We've got students that are going through the RTI process, which is response to intervention, and Mr. Phelps leads that for us, and we will actually hand over every intervention that the children receive so the next school can hit the ground running with this. But no, we don't want anybody.
Right, okay, great. Carry on.
That's all we got. That's it.
Well, that's real good analysis. I'm just curious that we're following those 14 kids because
You're right.
I don't want them to get lost and they're in 8th grade 5 years from now and they're 2 years behind and they're
Right.
really struggling and they struggle through high school if you can't catch it early.
And you're right. That's why, we base everything we do from kindergarten, it doesn't just start in 3rd grade, kindergarten on up. We've got reading diagnostic assessments, dibbles, other assessments to try to catch them even earlier than 3rd grade.
Great.
Do you have any kind of programs or anything working with the parents or to help them at home? I mean, I know there's so many different circumstances at home, but
That's a good question. The learning upgrade piece, which is that online or the online program, they can do that at home with them. Last year we had a great turnout at our parent evening. We didn't get as great turnout this year. I'm not really sure why. But we send lots of communication about the law, the after-school program, anything that we think might benefit them, websites, especially now. We're changing with the park, so we do the ice cream social, which will be coming up here in about 3 weeks. We have a math bash that's in October. But we try to bring them in as much as possible and educate them because it's confusing when you hear 400 and suddenly, but really 392 or 394 is what you need. It's making sure that they understand exactly what the law is.
right.
Mr. Richmond, to
Yes.
clarify on the MAP test, so the OAA is one way to meet the 3rd grade reading guarantee, which is in April. So some students need till the end of the year. So you give the MAP, how many times after that spring OAA do they receive that test?
And then the other downfall is we don't necessarily get our fall OAA or spring OAA scores until June. So if they have not reached a requirement at that point, they take the MAP 3 times. So but then we can only count the winter and the spring, and then they can even take it again if needed in the summertime. So, and Jenny, plus I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I know if some students, but we're going to. But I think some students can get extra summer work if they would still need an extra shot to take that MAP assessment, or OAA even too. I didn't have anybody that did, so I don't know.
Last year, we had approximately 3 or 4 students who had not met that requirement prior to the end of the year. We organized individual tutoring for those students in the summer, and then they retook the OAA and they took the MAP. And all of those students that received that tutoring were able to meet the requirement using the MAP actually during the summer. So they were able to come in, take that MAP test, get their immediate score, know that they could move on and celebrate, headed to their car in the parking lot.
So you mentioned the spring scores come out in June. Do the fall scores come out in January? Is that the reference to January that I saw?
Late November. November.
So
then
you know what's happening by then and you can...
Correct. So then in December, we start to kind of get a game plan together, figure out which students to identify, send out all the information to parents, and then beginning of January, have the information meeting with the parents, and roll out the after-school program. And
Best thing you can do as a parent is start reading to your kids when they're born.
Very much so.
So they understand there's something more than
Didn't
something out there.
the Taylor State Report Card scores go up significantly? I'm trying to recall. I thought that yours were exceptionally well.
Thank you. We actually we were K2 the year before, so we really didn't have a score that year. But then last year was our first year of having 3rd graders back in the building, and we did very well.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. So
Thank you.
It looks like it's all coming to fruition, all your hard work. So much
Thank you.
appreciated.
My staff is phenomenal, and they work hard. And but thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Our next item is report from employee organizations. Is there someone here from the classified employee organization who would like to speak? Seeing no one, we will move on to the next item, which is school-related organizations. Is there a representative from a school-related organization who would like to speak? There are none. So we'll move on to community comments. That would be the small yellow card that I talked about before the meeting. I have received none. Amy, did you get any? Okay, so there's no one from the community that would like to comment at this time. There is a point later in the meeting where you will be able to ask about anything that was specific to this meeting. So we'll move on to the next item, which is a fiscal item for Dr. Jackson.
Yes, we have several reports for the month of February, the standard financial reports. The treasurer and superintendent recommend the Board of Education approve the financial reports as listed.
So moved.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Amy, please call a vote. The motion carries 4-0. Our next item is a certificated licensed personnel item, Dr. Jackson.
Yes, we have 2 certificated resignations, 2 substitute procedural resignations, 2 extra duty resignations, and 2 extra duty procedural resignations. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certificated license, personnel retirements, and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Amy, please call a vote. The motion is approved, 4-0. Our next item is a classified personnel item, Dr. Jackson.
Yes, we have 5 classified resignations and 3 classified procedural resignations. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Amy, please call a vote. The motion carries 4-0. Our next item is a bid resolution, Dr. Jackson.
Yes, this is the resolution to go to bid for several summer improvement projects, and you received the list a couple meetings ago, but this is for a renovations package at Colerain High School, Colerain Middle, Pleasant Run Middle, and White Oak Middle, some lighting upgrades at Northwest High School, Colerain High School, and Colerain L, tennis court resurfacing at Northwest High School, roofing at Colerain L, Colerain Middle, and Houston, some masonry repairs at Colerain L, Colerain Middle, and Montford Heights, windows replacement at the Colerain Career Center, Colerain L, and Colerain Middle, and some air handling units and exhaust fan replacements at Colerain High School and Pleasant Run Middle. This is just the resolution to go to bid. The actual bids will be tabulated by architects, and a recommendation will be brought at a later meeting to actually hand out contracts to the various contractors. So the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the bid resolution for summer PI 2015 as listed.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is moved by Mr. Heater and seconded by Mrs. Detzel. Is there any discussion? I would just like to add that our agendas are generally posted by Friday afternoon preceding the meeting. You can go to our electronic school board site, and anybody in the room or out there online can read our agendas, so we've all had a chance to look this over. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, Amy, please call a vote. The motion carries 4-0.
So doesn't one of you have to buy the other one at Coke or something like that when that happens? And that part
Not
of
me,
that?
because that's why I don't have
Okay.
a motion first. No, but just for purposes of the record, we probably ought to say who was first and second.
So
And
this next item is...
Let's talk about the alternative school assistant principal job description, Dr. Jackson.
Yes, this is a new position for alternative school, and we've established the need for an administrator. Currently at our alternative school, we have no administrator there, and we're covering it through various other alternatives. So this is the job description for the board to approve. Later in the agenda, we'll actually approve a transfer into that position. So the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the alternative school assistant principal job description as listed.
So moved.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Amy, please call a vote. The motion carries 4-0. It's another certificated licensed personnel item.
So we're going to have several positions here that we're going to hire in the next few minutes. Before we do that, I do want to turn it over to Tracy Ray for a second. She's going to talk about the hiring process that we've implemented this year at Northwest Local School District. In the past, we would literally have a position, for example, an elementary position, and over 100 applicants. So we're trying to come up with a system to better screen our applicants using various data points. So I'm going to have Ms. Ray talk about that for a little bit. We'll hire some people, and then I'll give it back to her to introduce some of the new administrators that we're hiring.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Before I talk about the new procedures with hiring, I want to just give you guys an update. I know that you always like to hear at the beginning of hiring season how many positions we have. And so Dr. Kessling and I in the Human Resources Department have 27 certified retirements and 17 classified that we'll be working on filling over the next couple months. Bless you. We are moving toward a more data-driven process, and as Dr. Jackson said, it can be very overwhelming when we have 30 open positions. I'm going to speak for the certified piece. And so we're looking at some data points that we believe can help predict candidates that will have good performance as teachers in this specific case. A little bit about our process is that we have a committee, Dr. Kessling, myself, and several principals, and so we have been working with Battelle for Kids. Tony Bagshaw is the human capital representative from Battelle for Kids, and the research that he himself has done and is sharing with the world, so to speak, is one where you actually funnel the candidates down to the principals, and then there are building level interviews. We are going to start with our teachers and, hopefully expand from there. We are going to use 4 data points this year. We are using a screening tool called TeacherFit that comes with our AppleTrack system. We also are having face-to-face screening interviews with AO administrators. We've had 2 sessions so far. We have screened about 160 candidates who either we had one round when we anticipated the openings because we had so many retirements come in so early. And then last Saturday we actually ran another screening with the AO administrators for those positions that people have specifically applied for. So we've had those, and that will come out with a score. Also, as part of the screening, there was a 20-minute face-to-face interview, and then the candidates would go into, it ended up being a very hot room over there, so there was some added pressure, I think, to do writing samples as we had about 6 computers set up in the room, and intentionally we weren't trying to overheat the candidates, but sometimes that was happening. And so we're going to have a writing sample score, and then also a cover letter and resume score. One of the data points that we hope to add to this next year is grade point average on undergraduate transcripts. And so what we will do at that point is use a calculation to give us an overall score for the candidates and then work those into candidate pools for the specific openings that we have throughout the summer. And I will be giving you an update on how that process is going and also how we are filling the positions along the way.
Thank you. I want to thank Ms. Ray as well for leading this. We met last summer about trying to find a better way to screen our candidates and give our principals a better group to interview and have ultimately be able to predict future performance. And when we met to discuss it, one of the things that they recommend is that they all get screened over here. And my team came in this past Saturday. It was a nice sunny day out there, and we all came in from about 7:30 to 3:30, and we went through about 10 to 12 candidates each and went through and screened them and then used that for the data points. One of the things we weren't sure about is, are we able, this large of a district, can we do this? And under Ms. Ray's leadership and Mrs. Kessling, Dr. Kessling's leadership, we've been able to do it, and the teamwork of the team. So I want to congratulate them on the job they've done with this, and I think ultimately it's going to be, we'll have a better pool of candidates from our principals to pick from. Instead of just looking at 100 and trying to determine, we'll have a smaller list for them to interview that have already been screened, and hopefully a better predictor of future performance. So with that, I want to go through the various lists that we're going to hire here the next moment, and then I'll turn it back over to Ms. Ray to introduce some of our new administrators that we're hiring this evening. So we have 3 administrative appointments, 2 changes in status, 3 extended service contracts, 2 temporary substitutes, 1 extra duty contract, and a resolution to hire 2 non-licensed coaches. And I want to just make one other point that one of the moves is Dan Bolden is being transferred from Corwin High School Athletic Director to Northwest Passage Alternative School Assistant Principal. I want to thank Dan for his years of service to Corwin High School and Athletic Department. I know he's looking forward to a little bit of a change in his career, and that's an opportunity for him. Because that's a new position, it takes board approval, even though it's a lateral move. Another position that's being moved that does not take board approval but is going to happen is that Joe Pollitt is being moved from Northwest High School Athletic Director. He applied for the Corwin High School Assistant Principal and was recommended by Dr. Turney to fill that position next year. Since that's a lateral move, it doesn't take board approval, but that Northwest High School Athletic Director will be posted tomorrow. so you're aware of that. So the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certificated license personnel items as listed.
So moved.
Second. The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I would just like to comment, Andrew, that I appreciate the fact that you held that on a Saturday, because it relieves the administrators of the other things that keep them preoccupied during the week, and it makes it easier for the candidates to come in on a Saturday, because a lot of them are either in school or currently working. I know by the time we have our next board meeting, you will have completed the happiest 2 years of your life, which has been service as our superintendent. I think April 1st is your superintendent anniversary.
My mom said when I was in kindergarten it was a pretty good year, but other than that year, this is...
Well, we've had a lot of exciting
It's a
things
happy
go on,
time.
and you know, one of the things we've talked about as a board, as and on a personal level, I've always felt like if there's any perceived or actual academic doldrums, that I'm counting on you to, you know, get us going in the right direction. So I really do appreciate the fact that you're, you know, trying a few different things. When it comes right down to it, it's the people that are teaching our students are going to have a great impact. So I'm glad you've taken it out to try this different method, and hopefully it continues to call forth the greatest pool of candidates. And so thank you for your efforts to that. Is there any other discussion?
Dan, I just wanted to comment. Tracy, you had mentioned that you rated and gave a point for the cover letter. And that's incredible, because I think it's good, but people sometimes just sort of throw something together, and the fact that you're looking at the whole package is very impressive.
Thank you.
I believe we've had a motion and a second, so I guess Amy, call for a vote, please. Motion carries 4-0. Dr. Jackson.
Well, I'll turn it back over to Ms. Ray to introduce some of our new administrators.
I'm going to have our new administrators stand as we welcome you. We are very excited to welcome Laura Bailey at as Colerain High School Assistant Principal. Laura comes to us from Lebanon City Schools, where she served as Dean of Students at Lebanon Junior High from 2013 to 2014. She also taught 8th grade math from 2004 to 2015. Laura received a Bachelor's of Science in Education and a Master's degree of Education from Bowling Green State University. She received her Master's of Educational Leadership from Miami University. Laura is joined here tonight with her husband, Travis Bailey. Please join me in welcoming Laura to her new role. We are also pleased to announce Karen Grayson as Struble Elementary Principal. Karen has been a member of the Northwest family since 2005, where she began as an intervention specialist. In 2012, she moved to instructional coach / assistant to the principal at Struble Elementary. Karen has earned her bachelor's degree in special education from the University of Cincinnati and her master's degree in reading science from the College of Mount St. Joseph, her principal license from Xavier University. She is supported tonight by her son, Jonathan, her daughter, Molly, who was unable to attend due to her first lacrosse game of the season, Paul and Sue Saladay, and Jerry Hood. Please join me in welcoming Karen to her new role. We are also pleased to welcome Jamel Weathers as Welch Elementary School Principal. Jamel comes to us from Princeton City School District, where she served as Director of Human Resources. Prior to that, she taught at Princeton City Schools from 2001 to 2007 and served as elementary school principal from 2008 to 2012. Jamel has a bachelor's degree in education from Ohio Northern University and a master's degree in the art of teaching from Mary Grove College. Jamel is joined here tonight with her son, Brogan, and her mother, Carla. Please join me in welcoming Jamel to her new role.
Thank you, Tracy. We'll move on to our next item, which is a classified personnel item. Dr. Jackson.
Yes, as you know, our network manager has resigned. He's being relocated and moving up to Columbus, Ohio area. So what we're doing is we are combining the two technology positions into one as supervisor, and then we're going to basically look at a contract to manage the various network services that we need. We've gotten to the point where we're large enough and we have enough technology requirements that we really need to get a very specialized position for the network manager piece. So this technology supervisor is an updated job description for the board to approve. So the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the technology supervisor job description as listed.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Amy, please call a vote. Motion carries 4-0. We have another classified personnel item, Dr. Jackson.
Yes, we have 2 initial appointments, 3 classified substitutes, 2 leaves of absence, and 2 changes in status. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified personnel items as listed.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Amy, please call a vote. Motion carries 4-0. Discussion item, availability of financial records online.
I was going to turn this over to Ms. Wells. I know she updated the board on Friday, so I don't know if you want to expand on that at all in terms of the email that you sent out.
Just to reiterate the email, the State Treasurer's Office is working with the state school software development team in working on and finalizing the online checkbook.
I actually personally spoke to Josh Mandel last week, and he mentioned April 7th as a date when they thought they might have things going. So hopefully everything's coming together on that, which is great. Thank you, Amy.
When you talk to Josh Mandel, tell him that one of his signs is still up on the exit there getting off of Hamilton Avenue off of 275.
Yeah, I bet you got fined for those kind of things.
I will start buying signs from whoever does those, because that one's been there quite a while.
Yes, it has.
I will mention it to him. Thank you, Amy. Our next item is Northwest Notables.
Yes, Mrs. Crowley will come up and go over a few of the Northwest Notables for us.
We have quite a few things to celebrate this spring. I'm going to start with the Northwest Local School District's robotics team won the Greater Pittsburgh First event. The Coleraine High School Butler Tech First team is called ROC, which stands for Robotics Organization of Cardinals and Knights, because it is a combined team of Coleraine High School and Northwest High School students. Through the finals, and a partnership with 2 other school districts, they won 2 out of 3 matches, ending up as regional event winners. There were 53 teams that competed in this Pittsburgh event from the United States and representing 8 states and also 1 team from Canada. They are now qualified for the championship event in St. Louis at the end of April. Teacher coach Mr. David Campbell was also honored with the Woody Flowers Finalist Award. It is the highest honor a mentor can earn in the FIRST competition. To quote FIRST regarding Dave, this award recognizes an individual who has done an outstanding job of motivation through communication, while also challenging the students to be clear and succinct and recognizing the value of communication. As such, it is very important that this be a student-led effort and a student decision. So we do congratulate our robotics team. We have also had a massive number of students in the Business Professionals of America competition. Several of those students qualified for the Nationals, which will take place later in May, and many of them are traveling to Anaheim, California for that competition. So those students are listed in your handout as well. Coleraine Elementary 5th grade students participated in an epic Pi Day contest last Friday, 2 Fridays ago, March 13th. Each student was challenged to see how many digits of the irrational number he or she could recite. 16 students participated, with the winning student, Taj Hewitt, reciting a whopping 256 of those numbers in a sequence. So we congratulate Taj on that accomplishment. Coleraine Middle School 8th grade boys basketball team, we congratulate them on back-to-back Southwest Ohio Conference championships. It should also be noted that the 7th grade team also won their championship this year. So Pleasant Run Middle basketball players are doing quite well. We congratulate Northwest High School's basketball coach, Nick Argentati. He is the Southwest Coach of the Year. Northwest High School student athlete Jarrell Marsh as the Southwest Ohio Conference Athlete of the Year. And Kobe Brown and Cody Roberson were the Northwest High School Southwest Ohio Conference first team for basketball. Northwest High School student currently attending Northwest Passage, Corey Fatora, has been admitted to Northern Kentucky University and has been awarded the Achiever Scholarship in recognition of outstanding academic achievement during high school. Corey's scholarship is for $4,000 for next school year. The scholarship is renewable for 3 additional years, which brings her grand total to $16,000. It should be noted that Corey is that square peg that we're trying to put into a round hole and didn't fit in the traditional high school setting, so she chose to attend our alternative school and earn quite an accomplishment for herself there. Students from Mrs. Carrie Barnett's Advanced Design Art class at Coleraine High School have been selected to paint rain barrels as part of the 3rd annual Rain Barrel Art Project, an initiative designed to educate the community about water conservation and pollution. Carrie's class has 4 groups of students who are 4 students designing 50 of the designs that were selected, and they will be on display at the Cincinnati Zoo Go Green Garden through April and will be auctioned off during the Rain Barrel Art Benefit Auction on April 23rd. So we congratulate Mrs. Barnett and her students. Coleraine High School boys bowling team took 4th place at the state tournament last weekend. We congratulate them.
Pauletta, will we be recognizing them at another board meeting, or?
Jim, I think it's 1st through 3rd team placement. We recognize all individual places.
Okay.
But we do have some winter athletes that we'll recognize at our next board meeting. Coleraine High School Winter Guard came in 8th place in the regionals against 19 other states, beating all of the Ohio's teams last weekend. Show Parks took grand champions at the Lebanon competition, and we thank all of our student athletes and chorus members, music members, professional business partners, and business students going on to regional and national competition. Thank you.
So, Pauletta, I was just talking to Jim, so the bowling team that took 4th at state, we will see them up on the banner in the gym, because I believe
Yes.
the top 4 teams that, so that's
And
exciting.
for recognition, we do 1st through 3rd.
That banner's gonna, a lot more people's gonna see.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pauletta. Our next item is community communications. If there's anyone in the audience that has a question or comment specific to anything we've discussed this evening, please approach the microphone. Seeing no one, we will move on to board items. Mr. Heater.
Ben, just very happy to hear about all the Northwest notables, Pauletta. That's incredible that so many good things are happening with the students. And I sense just a positive tone to what's going on in this school district. And so I appreciate you sharing all that with us.
Thank you, Chris. Pam, did you have any comments?
Was last week or the week before, Andrew and Jim and I attended the Southwest Ohio School Board's, I don't know what the whole title is, the recognition dinner. And so all the schools in Southwest Ohio that are members, it was really neat because the start of the whole program, the Coleraine Show Choir performed. And they were very impressive, and everybody was complimenting them. So I want to congratulate them on doing a great job.
Thank you,
and
Pam.
representing our district.
Great. Jim, did you have any comments?
No, I didn't, Dan. Thanks.
I'd like to thank you all for coming. Yesterday, I was up at Wright State University and got to see Coleraine's percussion group, and they have quite a show, and I think they finally have it all together with their props, and it really looked great. And other than that, we will move on to the next item, which is executive session.
Yes, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education move into an exec session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, to conference with an attorney concerning disputes that are the subject of pending or imminent court action, and preparing for conducting or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
Superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the motion to move into executive session as listed.
Oh, yes. I said that at the beginning of it.
Okay.
It was a long one.
That's fine.
I lost
And
it.
I so moved it.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Heather and seconded by Mrs. Detzel. Do you anticipate any board action at the conclusion of this?
No.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, Amy, please call a vote. The motion carries 4-0. We will come back to adjourn the meeting, and no other action will be taken. You're welcome to hang out. Thank you for coming.